We're very fortunate today to have Joseph Hernandez talking to us about the AI revolution in insurance. If you're not familiar with Joseph, you should be. He's been involved with NAIFA for several years. He's on our board of directors. He's been in the industry for, for 15 years now. He was born here in Austin, Texas. That's where I'm sitting right now. And raised in San Antonio. And Joseph now lives in Corpus. So he lives in Corpus Christi with, of course, his wife and 3 kiddos. And he currently serves as a partner at New York Life. So he's definitely, knows the industry inside and out. He's very involved with his church there in Corpus as well. Really knows a lot about AI and how it's interplaying with our industry. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Joseph. Looking forward to it. So take it away.
Let me just apologize to everybody for my voice. I lost it a few days ago, and today it's coming back. We got a lot of good content today, good content. So as we said, we're talking about AI, and it's changing our industry. It is transforming our lives, transforming our agencies. We're going to talk about a couple of different things today. We're going to talk about the industry landscape, some operational transformations, some success stories. We'll talk about AI technology, along with ethics, right? And I think that's a very top of mind subject for so many people. It's really the ethical implications around using AI. We'll talk about some practical implementations, things that you can do in your agencies today, and then really talk about some next steps. How can you implement AI more effectively in your current business? And so we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. So first of all, let's get a sense of what's going on in the industry today, right? Some of the challenges that we know that many of us face today is really some rising customer expectations, right? I mean, people expect this 24/7 service. They expect, hey, if I have a question at 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody's going to respond to me, right? They want instant quotes, seamless experiences. But there's also a lot of market consolidation pressures. We see this with agencies really combining, being purchased, closed, merging, and so forth. Lots of different things that happen. And as that happens, they've got some big budgets. And it makes it difficult for many independents to continue to compete. And then also there's just data management complexity. Struggling with many of these siloed systems that we have. And really talking about legacy systems, right? You think about the systems, the CRM that many of us use today. Many of those things haven't been updated because they work. But do they really continue to offer the same type of experiences that our customers are demanding today? So I'd like to just get a poll, right? So some of this is going to be interactive. I'd like to get a poll to see which of these challenges really impacts your agency today. It's about half. It's split equally between rising consumer expectations and data management complexity, right? And I think this is very, very telling of our businesses today. It's difficult to meet many of our customers' demands. If we don't have the technology budget, or we don't have the resources to do it, it gets competitive, it gets demanding, and monetarily, it may not be feasible, right? We may not be able to do some of those things, but AI really will help. And we'll talk about some of these things here in a second. So I think this is very interesting that we're seeing. Really, it's kind of split between rising consumer expectations and data management, right? So very good. All right. As we look at how you are uniquely positioned, and this is where I think when you look at your value proposition, you look at what you bring to the table, it is unique. It is core to who you are and the business that you have built, right? You have a relationship first approach and always have. Your business was not built on technology. It was not built on 24/7 service that they could call somebody any time of the day. It was built around a more traditional model, but it was all about relationship first. You built relationships face to face, right? Belly to belly, B2B. That's how you build relationships. You're also very agile and you can adapt more easily than a big company, right? You think about what's easier to maneuver, the speedboat or the big cruise liner. It's the speedboat. I can move, I can do things, I'm much more agile. And then you've also got a lot of local market expertise. So you have the ability to do things that big conglomerates can't, right? As some of these larger companies are coming in and they're really consuming some of these larger agencies or the smaller agencies and putting them into a bigger platform, they're difficult to move and they lose some of that client-centric service that business might have initially been built on. So the great thing about this is that you are positioned to really move into this next phase of your business, probably more effectively than I think you may have imagined. AI can help you handle routine tasks, freeing up many of your employees to focus on what they do best, building deep, trusted relationships. And that's through personal advice, comprehensive risk management. It's going to free them up so they can continue to do that, right? When we talk about that agility, right? Independent agencies can implement solutions quickly without lengthy corporate approval processes, and that allows a rapid response. And when you talk about local market expertise, AI can help you, right? But it helps combine with what you already know of your market, right? No one can ever replace the knowledge that you know, the information that you have about your market. No one can ever replace that. But AI can help supplement, it can help add. So that way you can improve the value proposition that you currently have, that you're offering to your clients. It's independent agencies, right, are strategically implement AI. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, right? And that's our goal today. I want to give you some information to help your business continue to thrive and to grow in this ever-changing environment, especially when we know that there's this combination of high tech and high touch. And right now you've been very high touch. We need to implement some of the high tech efficiencies to help your business. So let's understand AI. And so when we look at this, there are three things that you need to know. Now you're going to hear these, and they refer to these as ML, NLP, and CV. That's how they refer to these. So machine learning, natural language processing, and then computer vision. So machine learning, these are algorithms. They learn patterns from data. They predict, they make decisions, right? Really without explicit programming. So how does this get used today? In premium pricing, right? Consumer segmentation. They also do this when they're looking at algorithmic underwriting that many of us are being exposed to today, that our clients are going through, where decisions are instant. They're getting an instant decision, or within a few minutes, they know if they're approved or if they know they have to do blood work. It's all this machine learning. Natural language processing is technology that helps computers understand, interpret, and respond to human language. You see that with chatbots, customer communication. If you go online, last night, I went online to my internet provider. I needed to order another Eero for our internet. And I went online, and of course, my first inclination was, let me call. I want to call customer service and talk to somebody. I called, and the phone number said, nope, you need to go online and basically use the chat feature. Okay, so I go online, I use a chat feature, and I'm conversing with this chatbot. Then the chatbot realizes I need to talk to somebody. And then it connected me to someone. Now, I'd never talked to them, but I was messaging them, a live person, last night about 10:30, right? All of that happens with this natural language processing. And then computer vision. This is systems that can interpret and analyze visual information. Now, a lot of this gets used with property damage assessments, fraud detection and claims, but ChatGPT uses that, right? You can actually upload reports and it will combine them. It'll look for things and patterns. It's all through this analyzation of this visual information. So I'm curious to know, right? My next question, the poll question is, have you used any of these? Have you been exposed to any of these within your agency? Okay, so it looks like 69% have been exposed or utilize natural language processing in their agencies today, right? This is where you're using chatbots, right? Document analysis, customer communications. So that's great. Some of you have been exposed to machine learning, smaller portion to computer vision, right? And then maybe some haven't really been exposed to a lot of the AI yet, and that's okay. It's coming. It's here, right? So it's good. That's very interesting to know, right? It sounds like many of us, in fact, probably have been exposed. Even like I said, even last time when I'm calling my internet service provider, having to deal with a chatbot, right? Or you're calling your cell phone company and they want you to go online. So good. Okay. So how does AI transform, right? How does it transform underwriting and risk assessment? Well, it does it really through three factors: through enhanced data analysis, predictive modeling, and real-time risk assessment. Now, when we look at how this is working, it helps our business, helps underwriting, helps risk assessment. You know, McKinsey, if you're not familiar with McKinsey is a very large consulting firm, but McKinsey has indicated that AI-powered predictive underwriting improves loss ratios by 3 to 5 percentage points. That's huge. That's huge. You think about it. It improves loss ratios, which should result in better premiums ultimately for our clients, right? That should ultimately reduce the premiums they're having to pay because we're improving loss ratios, right? We're doing better at predictive modeling. But this is how it's really transforming our business today. It's looking at enhanced data analysis, predictive modeling, and real-time assessment. Now, when we talk about our customer experience, right? We know that this 24/7 virtual assistance, this is huge. Clients, they now kind of expect this. If we don't have it on our website, it's almost like a negative because they've come to accept it because everybody does it. And so these are AI-powered chatbots, handles inquiries, basic questions, basic inquiries, and allows your staff to focus on more complex things and human experience. So me calling to find out what my deductible is, a chatbot can typically do that. I don't need to take that call anymore, right? There's also a lot of personalized recommendations, things that I can tailor some solutions. It can give me some recommendations. And we see a lot of that today, not just in property and casualty, but we see that in life, where it's giving recommendations, tailored solutions based on the client's needs. And then there's also this proactive engagement. This is where we're reaching out to people. And this is where we want to set up policy reviews, right? Adjust coverage before the client requests them, like age changes, or hey, your car's 6 years old, 5 years old. Let's review. Do you need a new car? Right? Maybe you got a new car, forgot to tell us. I don't know. But these are types of things that help because the system will prompt us and the system will start reaching out and doing that on your behalf. And so again, there's a lot of different software. We'll talk about some solutions that you could take a look at to see if it works for you. But Accenture back in 2023 said that agencies using AI-powered customer service tools see a 35% higher customer satisfaction score and 28% better retention. If you've been holding out, if you haven't wanted to begin this process, if you haven't wanted to add this component, I think you should definitely consider it. because we're seeing in the industry, we're seeing that it's working. This is what our clients are wanting. But as we said before, you know your clients best. And if you're in a small community and that's just not what they do, then maybe that just doesn't work for your business. But other pieces could. Other pieces could help. When you look at claims processing, right? AI is helping 75% faster processing, 30% cost reduction, a decrease in claims handling expenses, and 60% reduction in fraud detection. It's getting better. It's getting better, right? And this information comes from Deloitte, right? Again, they're telling us AI helps. It's revolutionizing our industry, right? Revolutionizing our industry. It took what was traditionally very labor intensive and making it much easier, right? For your clients to file claims, for you to determine what the loss is or the damage that may actually exist. And it goes from days to minutes, makes it much faster and a better experience for clients overall, right? If any of you have ever had or been in a car accident, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You wait for the adjuster to come out. That could take a day or two. Then it takes another couple of days. Meanwhile, I got a rental and the insurance company's paying for the rental. I'm out of my car. And then that took 2 or 3 days to get all that done. And then there's the work. And again, if we can go from days to minutes and get it in there and get out faster, saves everybody some money and your clients are happy. So I'm curious to know, our next poll question, how much time do you all spend on claims processing, on maybe something that could be automated, right? 79% spend very little on this, which is absolutely terrific. Those of you that may be spending a little bit more time, there's some things that we can do, and we'll talk about some of those things that we can do to help you save time, help make your people more productive, right? By using their time more effectively, because we know that time costs money. And so that's great. It's great to see 80% spend less than 20% of their staff time. But you never know, you might even get that down even further by using some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So very good, right? So thank you for sharing that. All right. So before we get into some actual platforms, let's talk about the ethical implications of AI. And I'm sure this is on many, many people's minds. When you look at AI and how it fundamentally changes how we do business, how we underwrite, how we process claims and provide financial advice, there are things that we have to be aware of. So one is the hidden bias risks. You know, it's interesting. You can have AI give you a biased answer by asking it a biased question, right? And so it doesn't, it's going to give you what you want. So you've got to be careful that when you're asking information, that you're not asking it in a way that would be biased. So let me give you an example. I want to compare two companies. And so I ask, how is company A better than company B? That's a biased question. Biased. Now, if I said, compare company A and company B and give me pros and cons of doing business with each one from a property and casualty standpoint, or from a life insurance standpoint, or investment, that's not as biased, because it's just going to give me pros and cons for both. It's the first question, it's definitely going to lean towards giving me the response I'm looking for. So you got to be careful with the biases. Also, to be careful with privacy. And I think that may be one of the main reasons why many people haven't gotten into it, because they just don't understand, okay, well, my client's information could be out there. And that's true, it could be, unless you're using the right platforms or you're subscribing to the right level of service. So like, for example, ChatGPT. Everybody hears about it. You probably have the app on your phone, and you ask it some basic questions. But depending on the version of ChatGPT, you might be exposing your client's personal information out on the web. So you have to have an enterprise level, right? You've got to pay for a specific service to make sure that it's safe and secure. And then there's also a lot of compliance, especially with HIPAA. Got to make sure that we're using proper safeguards. If you're not sure, get with either your broker dealer, get with companies that you are appointed with to find out what their policies or regulations are, or what support they can provide around the compliance component, because that is a very big piece. All right. Now, there are two things. Black box problem. AI models can produce convincing but inaccurate outputs. Yeah, you can ask it something and it'll create it. You know, I was having lunch a couple of weeks ago with a friend of mine. He's a judge. Oh, sorry, he's a judge here in Corpus Christi. And we're having lunch. And he says, you know, I am surprised at how many attorneys show up in the courtroom and they're presenting arguments and they're presenting cases and results that don't exist. They put all this into AI, to ChatGPT, or to whatever they're using, and it's giving them information, but it's made up. It's not real. It's not factual. And I'm like, wow, that's surprising, because you literally pay an attorney, because that's what they do, right? They know the law. They're supposed to know the law and represent you, and yet they're taking a shortcut. And I thought about, we in our industry, we can use this to help, but we can't use this to be the end all be all, right? We are still the experts, which is why we will never be replaced, right? And if the concern is, well, it's going to replace me, it's not. You don't have to worry about that. The only thing that we have to be worried about is that we could be replaced with someone who understands and uses AI more effectively than us. But the human being will always be in our industry because we're the expert, just like the attorney, but we can't take the shortcut. So AI can produce inaccurate output. And if you don't oversee it, if you're not reading it, verifying it, checking it, it could pose a big problem, right? Big problem, especially if you think about it. If I make a recommendation and I used AI completely for it, and then it was wrong or it was bad, I could be held liable for that, because I've got a fiduciary responsibility. So that's why my expertise, my oversight, right, has to be there. I can never delegate critical compliance or even legislative decisions entirely to AI. Use it to help you. Use it to improve what you do, but not replace what you do. The other is really ensuring client transparency. So ethical AI use requires a clear disclosure to clients about the role and inherent limitations in decision-making process. If I'm using AI at all, I need to let my clients know. And if you don't want your clients to know that, then don't use it in the decision-making process. But they should know if you're using it to help. That's in the recommendations, not in the research. Hey, I'm getting all the information together so that I can then present it. Now, there's also data privacy, security concerns. We talked about this, the strict data controls, right? We never input sensitive client information into AI tools. There's cloud vulnerabilities. So this is where you're accessing data in the cloud, right? All this information is out there. But again, there could be exposure if it's not properly protected. And then always remember to remove, that PII information when you're uploading it. Don't say Sarah, age 42, who lives in Corpus Christi, Texas. No, just say, female, age 42, but be very generic, right? We don't want to put in the PII because again, we could expose our clients, right? And we don't want to do that. So some practical tools that everybody can implement. Everybody can do this. So first, document intelligence. Tools like DocuSign, right? And Abby Fine Reader. They automate data extraction from insurance documents, policies. Typically, they've seen about an 85% reduction in manual data entry. Now, a lot of people use DocuSign today, right? A lot of insurance companies, realtors, everybody's using DocuSign. If you're not using it, you should, right? You can also use Abby Fine Reader to extract information, to summarize. There's also client engagement platforms like Drift and Intercom that provide AI chatbots that can answer client questions 24/7 and even schedule appointments for you, right? You're not having to do this. They could do this anytime. And that typically results in a 60% increase in lead qualification. Email management, things like Superhuman and Front use AI to categorize, prioritize, and even draft responses to client emails. And again, that typically saves about 40%. These are real tools that you can use, tools that you could implement. Now, again, I would go back and look at if there are specific tools that maybe your broker dealer or the companies that you're associated with that they may use or recommend that are specific or that integrate better with your CRM. Absolutely take a look at that. If the CRM that you use maybe doesn't offer any of these enhancements, I would suggest maybe analyzing whether that's still the best CRM to continue to use as we move forward and are really bombarded with all this AI technology today. So what can you do? We talk about marketing enhancements, right? These are things that you can do. Marketing enhancements, generating personalized social media content, client email campaigns, targeted communications. You know, for years, I was a client over at State Farm. And every month, I got a postcard from my agent. And I got a birthday card. I got a Christmas card. And I'd get to, oh, there's, you could do this. You could buy life insurance. And there was always something. How many people today really look at the mail? How many people look at postcards? But then we have the issue of how many people really open email, right? We're bombarded. There's different ways to engage with people. There's different touches, right? But this marketing enhancements, there are ways that we can continue to reach our clients. Postcards, they work. Emails, they work. Texting, they work. 100%? Never. It's never worked 100%, right? But everybody's a little bit different. But you can automate some of this, make it a little bit easier for yourself. There's a lot of customer service support, drafting professional follow-up emails, voicemail scripts, chatbot responses for common inquiries. All of this can be done. And then really this data analysis assistance, summarizing complex financial information. I'll tell you that for me has been really transformative. I routinely take multiple reports and even screenshots of the reports. I load them in and I tell it what I want, and it'll take all the data, reformat it, put it into a new document for me, or it will help me analyze information. So hopefully I'm not missing something, and then I still have to go through and look at it, but it's helping me look at it a little differently. So let's look at some examples. So you go to ChatGPT, and this is marketing content. Say, look, write a friendly 150-word email introducing a new life insurance product to middle-aged clients, emphasizing peace of mind and family protection. You'll get it. It's going to give it to you. It's not biased. It's going to give you some good information. It's going to give you a sample email. And then from there, I can tell, oh, I like this, add this, take this. You can refine. Now, ChatGPT will continue to learn how you speak, how you like things done. And over time, it gets better, gets much better, and it gets easier. it automatically kind of learns you and it adapts, right? Let's look at another example. Client financial summary. Summarizes client's investment portfolio and suggests 3 diversification strategies suitable for moderate risk tolerance. It'll do that as well. Now, if I load in other information, if I say, well, these are my model portfolios, these are, you load information in, it'll take all of those things into account. All it's doing is making a suggestion to me. I, as the professional, still have to go through and look at it, analyze it. Is this really appropriate? Is this really what fits with the client's needs? But again, it's helping put additional information, or maybe it's helping me look at something I'd never thought of before, right? And that could be the case as well. Here's another example. Risk assessment. Explain in simple terms why a client's health history might affect their insurance premium, highlighting key factors. Now, let me just say, we all have new employees from time to time. We all new people. And what happens with someone who's new? They don't know quite how to explain something. They don't know quite how to say something, or they may, not respond in the way that we want them to. This could help. This could help. They go in, let me get some information, and then let me pass it by my supervisor before I send it out. It's going to help them, right? But again, I'm helping explain. And that's all it's doing, right? And it'll ask me, do you want to be more professional? Do you want to be empathetic? And I can tell it, I want this, I want that. And it'll draft it and rewrite it for you in the way that you tell it to, right? But that's a sample ChatGPT. Now, I will say again, ChatGPT is great, but you have to have the right service to make sure that your client's information is protected. So always verify output, protect confidential information, so never upload PII. Always use your judgment. Just because AI says it is doesn't make it so, right? It could be wrong. And I've seen it be wrong many times. And always stay compliant. In our business, we've got to be compliant, especially if you're registered. We got to be compliant. So make sure that you stay compliant and make sure that if you have to provide disclosures, that we're doing that properly. So when we look at how we embrace, right, how we embrace this, we really have to look at the tools that are out there. And things like ChatGPT, they offer this unprecedented opportunity to enhance efficiency, client engagement, and really differentiate your practice in this competitive market. But we've got to start smart, right? Begin with small experiments and gradually expand. Got to keep it human. Remember, that's how your business was built. People got to know you and they got to love you, right? It wasn't a logo. It wasn't just some brand. They got to know you. You are their person. So keep it human. Maintain the personal touch and that professional judgment that your clients have come to value. And be competitive. Thoughtful AI adoption really positions each one of you as innovative leaders in client service. You could be the first in your town to do something. You could be the first to do something, or you could just do it better than somebody else, right? Now, overcoming some of these challenges, we know that there's money, training, integration, all of these things that come into play. There's investment concerns, I get it. But a lot of new systems, they're not expensive. They offer monthly subscriptions that you can cancel at any time. Staff resistance. I remember many years ago, being told you change the people or you change the people. And while our staff may be 10, 15, 20 years, we do have to change. And we have to be really cognizant and empathetic to many of them fearing the change. This isn't replacing. This is helping. This is making them more efficient. right? And a lot of those legacy systems, those older agency management systems, may not easily connect to some of the newer AI platforms. And that in itself can be a challenge. So again, start with something small, high impact projects that demonstrate a quick win. You got to have some quick wins to get people on board. Prioritize cloud-based systems with API connectivity. Leverage vendor-provided training resources. Take advantage of that. Don't try to figure it out on your own. Vendors will help you. Create a digital champion team to support adoption and measure and communicate success metrics. I just want you to think about this. I'm not asking this question, but just think about, what is your biggest concern? I want you to just think about it. What's your biggest concern? Is it investment, resistance? Is it integration, right? What do you think it could be? Because those are valid. They're very real. Now, there are some agencies out there that have done well, right? And there's 3 in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and here in Texas. And these are all, I researched these. They implemented AI, and they all had an improvement. In Massachusetts, they had a 40% reduction in routine inquiries. In Connecticut, reducing errors by 65% and freeing staff to focus on relationship building. And here in Texas, they increased revenue per customer by 23% by improving retention rates. All because they integrated and implemented some form of AI into their business. So how do you do this? How do you make it work? Identify those pain points. Like I said, I asked it earlier. What's really keeping you from doing it? Identify those pain points. Start small, scale gradually, and then measure and refine it. Right? Make it easier. So, what are the tools? Right, for sales and marketing, there's HubSpot, Drift, Jasper. If you're looking for a client service, Intercom, Ada, Glia. Right, operations, there's Applied Epic, DocuSign, Notion, and many of these platforms offer tiered pricing. So again, you're not having to do or spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 up front. It might be $100 a month. So here's another poll question. Which category of tools interests you most for immediate implementation? Would it be sales and marketing, client service, or operations? As of right now, an overwhelming amount in operations. That's good. That's good. And then sales and marketing, and then client service. Good. That's some good information. That really, when you think about, when you think about what you're trying to implement, look at the tools and then find out really from a cost standpoint if they do offer tiered pricing or even monthly, right? Make it more affordable for you. And then don't forget to utilize the training that comes with these companies, right, to do this. So next, we can kind of talk about, well, if I did this, right, if I were to implement this, how does this look? Well, so what I've done is I put together about a 90 to 120 day action plan. So first, assessment, planning, right? There's a readiness assessment that we'll send out. We'll also send out the slides from the presentation today. So we'll get that out to everybody that attended. But you look at, you assess situation, start putting a plan in place. Then you start to implement something small, some quick wins, something that's easy. This helps get your staff on board, right? They see the wins and they will be more adept at implementing and wanting to do more. And then really that month 4, 5, and 6, now we're talking about expansion, maybe better integration, right? And this is where you can start measuring and really looking at, how is this affecting my business? and it should be affecting it in a positive way. But I will say this, remember, initially, there's always a little growing pain. There's always a little dip before, right? I always see the hill before I get on top and I can see the sunrise. So you're always going to see it. It's going to happen. But don't let that discourage you. Start to implement something against some quick wins. But that way you can begin the process, right? So think about what you're going to do, right? Again, we'll send it out, but think about what you're going to do, what you want to implement, what you want to start doing. What 1 to 2 things will you do differently within the next 90 days? Okay. Now, I know there's some common concerns. Will AI replace me? No, nope. It enhances our capability, won't replace us. Right? The highest performing agencies use AI to handle routine tasks and redirect human talent to advisory roles that build deeper relationships. It's not going to replace you. It's going to enhance what you do. Now, what about, privacy? Well, there are a lot of reputable AI vendors, and they're required to maintain compliance. But the key is proper vetting. So don't just use, I'm going to go with this one. Look at them, research them, make sure that they're able to protect client data. Ask the questions, right? Don't just go based on what someone else says. Research it. Make sure it fits with your business. When you think about the future of AI, it really is going to help predict client service. It's going to predict our clients' needs before they arise, and it enables you to be more proactive. It's also going to help us with risk management because we can be more proactive, right? Where we can identify emerging risks and recommend preventative measures before losses occur. Just think about those of you that do liability coverage, right? And 15 years ago, you went and you did a commercial roof. How long does that roof last? Does the client need to be reminded? Hey, that roof is 15 years old. It's 20 years old. Do we need to take a look at that membrane? Do we need to take a look at it? Right? Do we, maybe some proper maintenance, some preventive maintenance will prevent a loss later. But again, those types of things help, right? I don't remember all those things, but the system will. There's also a lot of ways to make it super or hyper personal, right? And this enables customized policies based on individual client risk profiles. And I think we're going to see this more, to be honest with you. Today, when you apply for coverage, it's really, you take this or you don't, right? That's it. Very few things they'll come back and they'll make exceptions for, or they will exclude. But I think as we move forward, we're going to see more personalization. We're going to see more of what you want specifically. In fact, I saw this recently. I moved into a new home. I needed to get a policy on the house, and I went online, and guess what? Do you want this? Do you want that? I personalized level of coverage. I'd never been able to do that before. I personalized it, explained it. I had what I wanted, coverage limits, the whole thing. Done in 15 minutes, right? And there's also some very immersive experiences. This VR technology. Think about this virtual reality or augmented reality, the AR. It transforms our client interactions from virtual property inspections to immersive policy explanations. Just think about what you could do, right? You could walk them through. They could see it. You could see, right? Based on that. So some key takeaways today. AI, so there's advantages. It's a competitive equalizer. AI can help you be competitive and it'll equalize you. With the right tools, you can leverage AI to compete with larger carriers because you can enhance the experience. But you're going to be able to maintain that personal touch that differentiates you. And while you start small, think big. Begin with focused implementation. that addresses some specific pain points. We all have them. We all have a pain point. So what's your pain point? Let's fix it. Let's make it better. Let's make it less painful and eventually heal it. No more pain. Make it better. And when you think about human and AI combined, it's an unbeatable combination. We're not just solely relying on one anymore. It's now combined. The question isn't whether independent agencies should adopt AI, but how quickly they do so while maintaining their unique value proposition of personalized service and trusted advice. That's the differentiator. Right? So I thank you for your time today. There are some resources that we're going to send out. There's a readiness assessment that we will send out to you. You can take a look at it. You can use it in your agency, in your office to determine how ready are you to begin implementing. And then we'll send you the slides from today's presentation. If you'd like to take a look at it, happy to send it out. So question, what version of ChatGPT? I use Enterprise. I use ChatGPT Enterprise that offers the most protection for the information that I put in. It's not shared publicly. It's housed just within my program, but I use ChatGPT Enterprise. Now, there is a note. I will be out in Amarillo. I'm so excited to go. I'll be in Amarillo on October the 9th, and we're going to talk more AI, and I'll have a few more examples. I'll show some screenshots of ChatGPT giving us the information. Like, here's what I put in. Here's what it gave me. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what you can do with it, right? So any other questions before we end our call today? All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. If y'all have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us. We're here to support you. NAIFA-Texas is growing and we're strong, and we appreciate everyone and what you do on a daily basis. So thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.